Hello and welcome to Alienate UK with your hosts, Andy and Nicole. Please put all questions in caps and start with an emoji.
Let's go. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to Alienate UK. I'm myself, Nicole, and our guest is John Stasko. So, welcome to the show, John.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Yeah. So, just let everyone in the chat know, and then people that are going to listen back on podcast player. You are out at the moment in the start. Is it a national park that you're at?
It's a local park, but it's pretty good sized and it's deserted right now. Yes.
Yeah. So you're there to do some Bigfoot investigating.
Yes, because there was supposedly a Bigfoot-like creature sighted up here by myself and some others. So I decided to come up today. I've been sick for a couple of weeks with the flu, but I decided to get out today and do this while I'm out. So what the heck, I don't quit.
Make the most of it while you can. So while I was off air, so I asked John how long he's going to be there, and he's like, until he needs to go. So,
all right,
that's true professional.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So how long ago was the sighting?
Excuse me?
How long ago was the sighting?
The first one I saw, I was telling Andy, was about 2 months ago. I was up the park here with my great grandson. I have great grandchildren as well, and I was teaching him how to ride his bike. He's 7 years old, so I'm sitting on this bench, and he's going around a couple of times around a 500-foot diameter circle, and he goes, "Look at that, Pap, something's over there." So I looked over, and there was something sitting on the ground behind this tree, and it kept peeking around the tree. Well, we have bears around here. I've seen bears up here and stuff. But I said, well, anyhow, well, what the heck? But I wanted to get him to safety. So my wife had called about that time and I told her what we were seeing. And she said, well, get Eli out. His name's Eli. I says, get Eli to the car and get your binoculars. Well, just so you know, I have my binoculars right here. But and other gear I have a bunch of gear here. But anyhow, so as I got up to walk, this thing stood up. And the reason I know, I was telling Andy how tall it was taller than his branch. Next day I got up there and it was over 7.5 feet tall. So it was about 8 foot tall because its head was slightly above the branch. There's no bear over here that tall, but it was all black and walked into the woods like a man. Now I can't say for sure it was a Bigfoot because I'm not the kind of guy. I was telling Andy, I don't jump at every noise in the woods or tree falls or any way things are. I don't do that like some of these shows you see on TV. I have to have more definitive proof. Okay. And I'm very skeptical. I'm a retired paralegal as well. So, I mean, I need proof. Now, granted, you can't really make a Bigfoot appear to show the actual proof. But if I see it with my own eyes, which I have seen for sure Bigfoot, all with witnesses, by the way, I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I went back up the next day and I didn't find any tracks and stuff because it had rained that night. So if any tracks were there, they were washed away. But I'm watching a squirrel right now run down a tree. But anyhow, we have a lot of nuts here. There's 2-legged ones and 4-legged ones. Anyhow, but that's beside the point. We have a 2-legged one in the White House. But anyhow, it's beside the point. But sorry. I got to get a little
It's-
political at times. But
It's fine. It's fine.
But well, yeah, let me digress. I don't consider myself primarily. I was telling Andy, I'm a Bigfoot investigator. I am a paranormal investigator. On the back of my SUV, I have a thing that says paranormal investigator, which means I investigate every type of paranormal occurrence, whether it be aliens, abduction cases, ghost hauntings, possessions, crypt of its all manner, Bigfoot, whatever. I go. Uh, and the group I used to belong to, because I would take all these strange and dangerous cases, they called me the Indiana Jones of this group. It's because I would go everywhere. I didn't have a bullwhip
Yeah.
though. That's the only thing I didn't have.
Not yet.
But let me tell you, let me digress. I have first of all, let me talk about Bigfoot a little bit. My very first Bigfoot case was in 1991. I got a call from my state director about a supposed Bigfoot 12 miles south of Pittsburgh, PA, which is kind of unusual because it's a very urban area. So I go down there, and this case, by the way, was published in Fate magazine, February 1993, 94. Anyhow, I go down here, and my co-investigator was a nuclear engineer for Bettis. He was a big guy. I'm 6'4", 240 pounds at the time. He was 6'6.5", 660 pounds, big guy, bigger than me. But anyhow, so we get down and we were on this case for about a year. We had boulder-sized rocks thrown at us, everything else. Well, toward the end of the year-long investigation, you asked how long I stay out, as long as necessary.
Yeah.
Two juvenile Bigfoot were seen following me out of the woods. No, maybe 6 to 7 feet tall. Okay. Now 13 people saw this, including other investigators who were there. Okay. So we know there were Bigfoot there. So that was my very first case. But I started we had what they call a flap. You know what a flap is of Bigfoot cases.
Yeah.
We had a lot of cases. I went on probably 300 to 500 cases, investigating cases. Most I debunked to natural occurring, animals misidentification or outright lying. And but I got a call one night. Oh, maybe it was in November of 1990, late 93, I believe it was. I get home at midnight, and my first wife, who passed away, told me, this is before cell phones, by the way. She said, John, the chief of police where we live called, wanted you to come up to this place. And I said, well, what's he want? Well, I had the Jeep at the time, and I used to rescue people, pull them out of bad situations and stuff. But anyhow, so I didn't know what it was. So I always at the time, I was a site supervisor for an environmental company. I had 128 employees. I dealt with hazardous waste, radioactive, PCBs, all that kind of stuff. Polychlorinated biphenyls, very dangerous stuff. But anyhow, so I go up there. I had a big, powerful spotlight called a Q-beam and a portable power pack and a 1 million volt stun gun, because I always carried large sums of money, up to $4 million from my company, just so you know. But anyhow, so I go up there, and there's 12 police officers on the right-hand side of this hill and 30 civilians, including some teachers who live close by there. So it's midnight. It had snowed, but there was no snow on the road. So I says to this police chief, his name was Charlie. I says, Charlie, what's going on? He says, look up there. About 150 feet off the road, something was leaning against a high tension tower. I said, well, let's go. So I start walking up over the embankment, and I look back, and the police officers aren't coming. I said, you guys coming or what? And they go, no, look at the size of that effing thing. And I says, well, I'm going. I just told you, Andy, I'm not afraid of anything. My wife will tell you this. I'm not afraid of anything on or off this planet. At my age, I can't afford to be afraid of anything. And if you're a paranormal investigator, that's the whole point of seeing stuff, right? Anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
But right, I get a kick out of these shows where they go ghost hunting, and as soon as they see a ghost, or they run out of the house screaming like a little girl.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you're there for, right? Okay. Anyhow, so I go up there, and so I just kept walking. They stayed on, and they're watching me the whole time from the distance. And as I got closer, I shined a light on this thing. Now like I said, I'm 6'4". I'm not little, and I'm real strong. I mean, listen, I can lift the front of this vehicle up right now off the ground. I'm not lying. I can tell you, I can do this. So I'm not a weak man. So I get up, and I smelled it before I got a good look at it. It smelled like dead animals, rotting flesh, and earth, and leaves, and skunk, and I mean, the worst smells you can think of. Well, I got within 15 feet of this thing. It had its arms. I'll see if I can do this so I can show you. It had its arms slightly crossed like this, but they were massive arms. They were like tree trunks. It was covered at head to toe with like a long, dark brown hair or fur with reddish tinges. And its shoulders were wider than my SUV. Okay. Arms like legs and tree trunks. I couldn't tell if it was male or female because the genitalia was covered up by hair. Now, the only place it didn't have hair was like right here.
Yeah.
Down to here. I couldn't see its ears. It didn't have a sagittal crest like a gorilla. Okay. And it had green glowing eyes, glowing green eyes. Now, just so you know, primates do not have eye shine. You're a primate. I'm a primate. Monkeys, chimpanzees, none of them have eye shine. This thing had green eye shine. Now, I shined a light on it and it studied me. It had almost no neck and it was studying me like this. Okay. And as it did, I felt you know what infrasound is?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I felt palpable waves of some type of sound hitting me in my chest. And I got the feeling it was sad. That's the only thing I can say.
Oh.
I mean, sad. When I looked in its eyes, this is not an animal. I don't care what look, I gotta turn my car and get some heat in here. It's cold out here right now. It's like 22 degrees. Anyhow, I've been to zoos. I've seen gorillas. I've seen chimpanzees. You know, I've hunted deer. I'm a very good hunter, very prolific, but not anymore. I don't hunt with a gun anymore. I quit hunting with guns. But this thing is intelligent. It's sentient. I saw sentience looking back at me. I saw self-awareness looking back at me. Now, this creature studied me for about 15 to 30 seconds. Okay. And I felt these waves beating against me. Now, meanwhile, you got 42 witnesses, including 12 police officers, seeing me out there with this thing. So it was documented the whole 9 yards. Okay. So I'm looking at it. It's looking at me. And I uncrossed its arms. Now, before it did, I looked up and it's kind of smiled a little bit. I could see it had molars and canines, which tells me what? It's an omnivore. It eats plants and it's got canines to tear meat. So flesh and vegetable matter. That's probably how it survived, because if you're relegated to one particular thing, your chances evolutionarily would mean you might not survive. Okay. Anyhow. But I saw this and it looked at me, like I said. Now, it didn't have a sagittal crest like a gorilla, but its head was slightly larger. Its hands and fingernails, I saw the fingernails. The fingernails were like a dark gray or black. The underside of its hands were gray. Its face was like a dark gray. I couldn't see the bottom of its feet, obviously, because it was standing on them. Now, you see pictures on Facebook. People do renditions of Bigfoot. They make him look like the Incredible Hulk with the muscles bulging and stuff. No, they don't look like that. I've seen them 4 times. Okay. They do not look like that. Okay. At all. Now, if this creature, as strong as I am, wanted to kill me, it could have ripped my arms and legs off and flossed its teeth with me. Okay. Yeah. But it didn't do it. Yeah. After between 15 and 20 seconds or so, now, this is what's the strange part. You've seen deer run and rabbits. You see how fast they are, right? Oh, this thing moved. It went from 0 to 60 kilometers an hour in a blink of an eye, like a blur. That's why a lot of people who have cameras and may able to take pictures of a Bigfoot, their film isn't good enough. Their shutter speed is not good enough to capture that, because it's like a blur. It moves that quick. In 3 steps, it covered 30 feet. 3 steps. Now, a normal 6 foot tall man has a 24-inch stride. I'm 6'4". My stride is 26 inches. This thing had a 10-foot stride. Now, I tried to follow it in the woods and I couldn't keep up with it. Okay. But I did get hair samples, and the hair samples I sent to a local university. Now, back in that time in 93, 94, the DNA ability wasn't as good as it is today, obviously. When I took it to the university, they came back in 2 weeks and said unknown hominid. The hair itself was unusual because it was transparent, sort of, with a tinge, like a brown and reddish tinge to it. The guy that did it for me said he's never seen anything like that. So I can turn this off now. But So that was that case. But I measured the footprints. The footprints were, listen to this. I wear a size 12 shoe. The footprints of this thing was 22 inches long,
Jesus.
almost 2 feet. Okay. And, Bigfoot doesn't walk like we do,
Right.
side to side like this, right? They walk in a straight line like this.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
that,
One
isn't
foot
it?
in front of another. So I was pretty excited about it and stuff. But so the next day, after did the police report and stuff, I get a call from Channel 2 News, KDK in Pittsburgh. Mary Robb Jackson was a reporter, and she said, and it gone down to about 20 below zero with the wind chill. And she said, she calls me up, says, Mr. Stasko, I understand you're the lead investigator for these 3 counties. I said, yes, I am. I said, what's going on? She says, we've had a Bigfoot sighting up in a place called Crescent Heights. It's a small community. It's mostly black people live there, and they have a church up on top of the hill, away from the town. It overlooks the town. So she came down with her news team. They had a cameraman, the driver, and herself. She's only 5 feet tall. First time I met her, she became a friend of mine. We go up to this deserted area and we found 2 sets of tracks. Not one, 2 sets. This is 5 miles away from the big one I saw. 5 miles.
Yeah.
Okay? Keep that in mind. So we go up there, and the tracks, this one set of tracks was 22 inches long, which tells me it's probably the same creature. And the other ones next to it were 18 inches almost in length. Now I have something called a soil compaction device. I can pretty much give you an idea how heavy something is by the depth of its imprint. You understand?
Yeah. Got you.
Okay. The depth of the imprint indicated for the big set of tracks a weight of 1,200 pounds.
Jesus.
That's bigger than a grizzly bear.
Yep.
Okay. The tracks for the other one on one foot was 800 pounds. But listen to this. The other footprint of the smaller one was 1,000 pounds. Why is that?
Carrying
do you think?
something.
That's right.
Carrying something. Yeah.
Right. So I followed the tracks to the edge of the hillside where they squatted down, and you could see their butt prints. They were looking down into the town. So, but I'm looking for tracks further away from that. I didn't see any tracks. I'm like, wait a minute. They didn't grow wings and fly. So what I looked at the tracks initially that I followed, and I looked, and the old Indian trick where they walk backwards into their tracks?
Yeah.
They did that.
Smart.
Into the wood. Right. That tells me there's no deer, no bear does that. Nothing does that. Okay. Except an Indian maybe, or Bigfoot. So that tells me that it's an intelligent creature to boot. But I did find more hair samples. Took the hair samples again to the university, and 2 weeks later it came back with the same diagnosis. Okay. So that's 2 down. Then I told you about the one in Canonsburg, PA, where the 2 followed me out of the woods with 13 witnesses.
Yeah.
2.
Yep.
Okay. The 4th one, I was going with my wife. It was 2 years ago. We were going up to Cooper's Rocks, West Virginia. It's a state park, a big state park. It was summer, and I'm driving up this long grade. And, and I had a problem with my hip. I had to get it replaced, which I did eventually. But that happens. I'm partly bionic now. But anyhow, so my wife says, look at that. Now there's a line of cars going up behind me trying to make up this long grade. And there's something about 8 feet tall standing on the edge of the tree line. So I hurried up and pulled over. I got out and hobbled down the road. It was already gone. That's 4 times. 4 times. Let me go to number 5 and number 6. I already told you about number 5, where my great grandson, and I saw the one up here. We don't know. I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume it wasn't a bear or a really big guy. But I was at another park not far from here, maybe 12 miles from here, called Mingo Park. And I took my 3 great grandchildren up there. I had bought them some remote control cars and stuff, and I took them up there, and they were playing with them on top of this hill. And there's about 18,000 acres, I guess, of woods. It's pretty thick, and it's pretty isolated up on top. Anyhow, so there's another couple up there with 2 kids, and I'm talking to the man, and I'm away from my SUV. And this guy says, look at that over there, sir. I looked up, and maybe 300 feet away, I saw something standing there. It was tall and black, looked about 8 feet tall. So I tried to run to my SUV to get my binoculars, which I always carry, and it was gone that quick. So that's 6 times. 2 that I'm not sure of what I saw, 4 for sure what I saw. Okay.
Yeah.
Now people ask me, why you think you have these encounters? That's because I look.
Yeah.
I get out there, I put boots on the ground. I'm not one of those guys that sits around. I've had people ask me, John, why don't you write some books? Okay. I've been on over 5,000 different kinds of cases. I could sit home and write probably an entire plethora of books if I wanted to, but I'd rather get out here while I'm still alive and able to do it and put boots on the ground. I'll leave the book writing to the people that sit around and talk about other people's accounts. I go out there and I actively look. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not in this for the money or the notoriety or the fame. Like I said, I do this for the love of it because I want answers. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. I initially got into the paranormal field because of UFOs I had seen from the time I was a little boy all the way up. But when I started investigating Bigfoot, I was talking to people, and sometimes some people would tell me they saw Bigfoot in close proximity to a landed UFO, a hovering UFO, or going into or coming out of a UFO. That really piqued my curiosity. So if you know anything about exobiology, I will say this. Let's look at Bigfoot as the creature itself, what it's supposed to be, okay? It's got long arms, right? Reach below its legs. Why do you have long arms? Why do chimpanzees have long arms, for instance?
So they can move quicker. So you can
Climb
get
up
free. Yeah.
For what reasons? For food, for shelter, and protection, correct?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Bigfoot, we believe, can see in the dark. It uses some type either ultraviolet or night vision capability, which means it can see on different spectrums than we can. The reason I say this because all the reports I've read, they don't need flashlights to walk around with. They walk like it's broad daylight to them. Okay.
Yeah.
So it can see at night. It's primarily arboreal, which means it's mostly out at night, but it's been seen in the daytime too. Okay. So it hunts at night. So keep that in mind. The other thing, it's adaptability. It's got wide feet meant for climbing places. It's got tremendous strength. It's got super senses: sight, smell, hearing, and sound. Okay. That tells me that wherever this thing came from, and I'm getting what I have a theory about this. Wherever it came from, it wasn't the top predator. Got it?
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't. Now I'm going to go, and some of my colleagues in this field might disagree with me, and that's okay because we're allowed to have our own opinions.
Yeah.
I don't believe Bigfoot's a descendant of Gigantopithecus or any known hominid species on this planet. I believe that this creature was brought here probably during the Pleistocene era, okay, Paleolithic era, and was left here and liked it here. Wherever it came from, it wasn't a dominant predator there, but it came here and liked it here. There's thousands of years of work of history talking about these giant hairy creatures, okay? So that's my feeling. Now, some of the people in this field believe that Bigfoot has the ability to use portals, and that's why they can disappear so quickly.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think that's taking it a bit too far. I've never seen a portal. Until I see one, it's just a hypothesis. Okay. I do believe because they have the ability to move so quickly and they're so adaptable and they're adapted to their environment completely, they can disappear very quickly. They can outrun a human being. I mean, for sure. I mean, with the thing I saw move, I was fast back then. I couldn't keep up with it. It was faster than any deer or rabbit, and from 0 to incredible speed in the blink of an eye. Okay, so there's that. But what really has piqued my curiosity is about the interaction with the people I've talked to. Said they've seen it in close proximity to a UFO. As I said, it's got me wondering what it really is. I don't know what it is. And I got to say this too, even though I'm called in many groups as a group expert, there are no such things. None of us are experts. Okay.
Totally agree.
I call myself an explorer of the unknown. That's what I am.
Ooh, I like that.
And that's the way I'm going to look at it. Now, Facebook puts that designation on you, as do other groups and stuff. I'm an administrator in Sasquatch Odyssey with Brian King Sharp, ECBRO with Dan Benoit, and Agents of the Unexplained, and other groups like this. I've talked to various groups. I've been on many podcasts. I've done speaking engagements. I'm going to Virginia, as I was telling Andy, in June for the ECBR event down there. Several podcasts to do yet. Last year I did the Myths and Monsters Festival in Somerset, PA. But you know, I do this in my own dime, on my own money. I don't want any, I'm not asking for a pat on the back, but I do have a problem with people that are taking advantage of this genre. Okay. I've turned down some requests for podcast interviews with some podcasts I believe are just milking it for money.
Yeah.
Okay. That I'm on your podcast should tell you I don't feel that way about it.
That's good. Because we don't make any money.
No,
I know you don't. I know
nothing.
But you do it for like, I know why you do it. You do it for the love of it. That's why you do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
And that I can respect. I respect that. But like I said, I've been in other groups and stuff where people are taking advantage of it. We have shows on TV over here in America. You know, this one group, I'm not even going to say because I don't want to. But anyhow, every noise they hear in the woods is Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Every tree that falls that makes a structure is a Bigfoot made structure. Listen, I have plaster cast of Bigfoot that I have. I've seen Bigfoot. Okay. If they don't want to listen, when you go and then they take camera crews into the woods, look, when I go, let me tell you what I do. The only reason I'm in this car talking today is because I'm inside a car and the Bigfoot's out there. You probably can't hear him because I have the windows up. But when I go into the woods on an investigation, you won't even know I'm there. I wear camo. I find a tree. I sit down I can sit for 8 hours just like this and not move. I have night vision glasses, night vision goggles. I have a bionic ear. Okay.
Yeah.
I have everything you could possibly. I got $3,000 worth of equipment that I bought, and I have a backpack, and I just sit there and I don't make noise.
Yeah.
And that's how you do it. I find a game trail. I'll sit off the side of a game trail, or I'll climb a tree. That's what I do. But yeah, I do believe the Bigfoot is something other than, it's not a animal. I know there's going to be people think it's just some kind of. That's okay. I don't believe they use portals. And I got to tell you this too. And I don't want me to offend my little buddy in England, Danny Barnett, but I have some serious skepticism about Bigfoot in Britain. Okay. Now, the only reason I say that, I'm not saying it's not possible, because at one time when the seas were 400 feet lower, England was connected to Europe. You understand?
Yeah.
So it was definitely connected. So, and the seas have gone up since then. So there's a possibility that something came from the east and went to England, UK.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But until I have more proof, I'll leave the door open. I'm skeptic, but we'll see. What I do believe is this. I know you got Black Panthers.
Yeah. I did see the back end of one a few weeks ago.
We have them here too. People don't know that. In Western PA, it's supposed to be an extinct creature. It's about half the size of a American cougar. And I've seen him twice in my life, as a child when I was delivering newspapers, and once as an adult. It's a little bit bigger than a German Shepherd, but not as big as a cougar. So I know they exist. But I will tell you this: if you didn't have access to the encyclopedias or the internet or anything, or TV, and I said to you both, there's a creature on this planet that has a tail of a beaver, poison-tipped claws, fur, lays eggs, and a bill of a duck, what would you say to me?
Yeah, it sounds crazy if you don't know that it exists.
You need to stop taking whatever it is you're taking. Yeah.
You know what it is? A platypus.
Yeah,
that's right.
Duck-billed platypus. Yeah.
Duck-billed platypus. Here's
the mammal that lays eggs.
Yeah. That's right.
The poison claws.
That has a beak.
Right. Yeah. The other thing is this. Also, I'll tell you this. I'm a student of paleontology.
Yeah.
65 million years ago, there was a fish called the coelacanth.
Okay.
Supposed to be extinct, a 5-foot long armored fish. Guess what? They found at least 6 of them alive so far. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the other thing is the megalodon. There are pictures, unretouched, not AI generated pictures of 2 German U-boats side by side in the North Atlantic, mind you, off the coast of England, okay, exchanging mail and food during the Second World War. And there was a fin about 8 to 10 feet tall out of the water, a fin of a giant shark, megalodon.
Yep.
We don't know what's in the depths of the ocean. The deepest part of the ocean is the Challenger Deep. It's so about 7 miles deep. The pressure down there is incredible. Okay, it's total darkness down there. Okay, so we don't know what's down there. We know there's thermal vents down there, and there's things that are around there called tube worms that live around these thermal vents and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
My thing is this: if you didn't know any of this because people explored this in contraption, you wouldn't say. When somebody were to tell you, you'd say you're full of crap, right? My whole point about this type of conversation is this: before somebody says no, this can't be, this can't exist, check it out. There are more things on this planet, more that we don't know. We know more about the surface of the moon than we do about the depths of the ocean. There's gigantic tracts of land here in America, gigantic tracts of land in Siberia, okay, and elsewhere, where a large creature like a Bigfoot are. I mean, look, in the Himalayas, you have the abominable snowman, the Yeti, the Yeren in China, the Yowie in Australia. The Aborigines talk about the Aborigines don't lie. So you have that.
No.
You have things in South America. But I want to tell you this. It's been my experience through research and my own experiences that let me just say this. In the northeastern part of the United States, other than when juvenile Bigfoot act up like very immaturely and maybe attack people or throw things at people, there's been no instance I'm aware of any aggressive, negative behavior by a Bigfoot in northeastern United States. None that I'm aware of personally. In the southern part, the southeastern part of the United States, you have the Bogey Creek monster, folk monster, swamp ape. They're more aggressive, and the reason I believe is because there's less people. It's harder to get to, and they're more territorial. Then you move out to the Pacific Northwest. There's been instances I know you've heard of Portlock, Alaska. What happened up there? Okay.
Yeah.
Those creatures are very, very aggressive. Supposedly, allegedly, they rip people apart. Okay. They've thrown trees and stuff at miners and loggers up there. So I think it has to do with where they're located. They're more aggressive, and they stay to a certain area. That's their territory. Whereas here in the Northeast, the Bigfoot I've encountered, I believe, are more. They're not territorial. They move around. They're nomadic. They won't stay in any one place long. They may return, but they're more nomadic because of the larger populations we have in the Northeast. Like we have New York, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, these places. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could talk for days just about this subject and stuff, but the footprints too. I've been on cases where people have fake footprints. I've kept up on Dr. Meldrum's research, okay, about the foot, and the patterns of the foot, and stuff like that. In fact, he's one of my Facebook friends as well. But the reason their foot is wide is it gives them a better stance. What's strange about it, though, is the way they walk, like this, one foot in front of another, which is very strange. That's not a normal means of locomotion for human beings, okay? Nor for the Gigantopithecus when it was around, or for gorillas, if you've seen gorillas, you know they don't walk like that. Okay, no primate walks like that I'm aware of. So, I mean, do you have questions about this stuff, or I mean, anything you'd like to add?
Nearly swore. Then I've got thousands. I won't swear straight away. I'll wait until about at least another 2 minutes before I start.
Right. We got questions in the chat too.
Yeah, I just want to do a couple of my own first. Is that all right? Yeah. Before I forget. So, what's your whole take on Bigfoot? So these 4 that you've encountered that you know are pretty much for definite, would you say that they were similar, the same, or completely different from each one?
Okay, I would say that the ones that are the juveniles I encountered are very immature. And they're the ones I think were throwing rocks at my friend and I. Okay. We're talking
Yeah.
rocks as bigger than my hand. Okay. Probably over 100 feet. And I know some people, I mean, are going to disagree and say they don't throw rocks or make wood knocks or whatever. That's fine. That's their beliefs. That's fine. I have my own beliefs as well. But I
Yeah.
know what I saw being thrown at my friend. Okay. Um, I think that the juvenile Bigfoot are more likely to do, they're the ones you're going to encounter more probably because they haven't learned yet to kind of stay away from you. Sort of like juvenile delinquents of human beings. Okay.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
learned the maturity level. As far as coloration, everyone I've seen, except the great big one, the 10-foot tall one, it was 10 feet tall. And the reason I know how tall it was, I measured it where it was leaning against the high tension tower. I can stand flat
Yeah.
footed
Yeah.
and reach 8 foot exactly. So it was 2 feet taller than I can reach.
Wow.
That one was dark brown with reddish tinges. I believe it's
Yeah.
just my gut feeling it was a male. Okay. I didn't see the female. I didn't see a baby. I found tracks, which I believe were of a female. But I think they're all similar and very much so. I think that there's a family unit. They stay in small family units and groups, and that's the best way to travel. There's usually a big male, maybe a juvenile male, a female, and a young one. Probably no bigger groups than 4 or 5 at the very most. I will say
Yeah. Yeah.
this too. People ask me, well, how come we've never found a body? Well, let me just say this. Back in when Neanderthal man was around, and other even early Cro-Magnon, sometimes when people would die, they would do ritual cannibalism. Okay,
Yes, I've heard this
that's
before.
that's a possibility. The other thing is we have a lot of caves and mines around here. Lots of caves and mines and overhangs. So I mean, there was one mine I went to, it was 800 feet straight down. Okay. I mean, if they
Wow.
wanted to, they could put a body underground. Yep. So that's one other answer, maybe. Or maybe they decompose so quickly, they break down very fast, and that's why you
Yeah.
don't find them. Think about this too. How many times have either one of you ever been in the woods and hunted?
No.
No,
I've been
not
in the woods.
hunted,
I
but
Okay, okay, you have bears over there, right?
don't hunt.
Okay. Have you ever found a dead bear?
No.
Have you, Andy?
I've only ever seen a bear in a zoo.
Okay.
The
Okay, well,
biggest
here's the thing.
predator, I was just going to say, the biggest predator we have in the UK is a badger or a fox that
Right.
should be
Well,
here.
okay, well, here's the thing. Well, let me put it another way. It would be very unusual. Most people walk in the woods, you don't find a dead bear laying around, or even, I mean, sometimes you might
No.
find a dead deer. Okay. But how many really do you find? And we know bears exist. We know deer exist. Foxes exist. How many dead ones do you find? Unless they're hit by a car on the road.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
not many. No.
Where I live in town, and I live down below a church on one street below, and we've had deer walk right up on our porch and have a baby right on our porch. I've actually seen coyotes walking down the street. I thought they were a damn chupacabra. we had one that had mange or something, and I was sitting in my car in summertime about 3 years ago, and I'm waiting for my wife to come out of the house, and I'm like, what the heck is this? This thing had mange, so it had no fur on it. It was skinny and tall, and turned out it was a rabid, mange-covered coyote right in town.
Oh,
They walk right through town. So, but here's the thing: a lot of people, how many hunters actually go out and actually see a coyote? We have people from the city that come hunting, they never see a deer, but we have deer aplenty, right? We have bear up here. I mean, I took my great grandson to school here last year, and as I'm waiting for him to come out of school, pick him up, take him home, I see a baby bear climbing a tree. So I'm right by the school.
yeah.
I mean, we're not talking deep forest right here. I mean, right here where I'm at, it's pretty bad, but it's not too bad, but I guess.
Yeah.
But so to answer your question, first of all, I believe they're intelligent creatures.
Yeah.
People will ask me, do they have a language? Maybe in a sense they have a language, a way to communicate. Yes.
Yeah.
Probably maybe by clicks. They can click their tongue like some creatures can do. Maybe by wood knocks. I don't know. Maybe they hit a tree with their big fist. Okay, they're very powerful. You know, there's a mathematical formula. If something's twice the size, like for instance, if you were to take a gorilla's strength is about the strength of 20 men. So you make
Yeah.
that gorilla twice that big, it has a strength of what? Take it times 4, 80 men.
Wow.
Hmm.
So Bigfoot, this Bigfoot I saw was 10 feet tall. The biggest mountain gorilla I've ever seen was about 5.5 feet tall. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is about double the size of a gorilla. Much bigger. I mean, arms like like tree trunks, literally like tree trunks.
Yeah.
So did it have any fear of me? No. Did I have any fear of it? No, I actually was more in awe of it. I didn't have
Yeah.
time to be afraid, you know. And if it wanted to kill me, I couldn't outrun it anyhow, not the way as fast as it moved. But I think it felt sad because it was discovered. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Now, even when I'm sick, like last couple weeks, I take a drive out to this certain ridge area where this UFO I saw, and I go out that way because on this ridge, it's called California Ridge Road. There's been a lot of things happen up here. We've had UFO encounters, which I have 7 pictures of, by the way, up close and personal. We've had Bigfoot sightings. We've had a murder up there. We've had satanic rituals, a haunted grave. Okay. All on this ridge, 4.5 mile long ridge. So I go up there. I take a ride about once or twice a week out there. I'll probably do it tonight again too. But after I'm done here, maybe. But
Yeah.
Bigfoot, to my knowledge, I believe it's an intelligent, sentient creature, a being of some type. It's not an animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I have to say about that.
So what do you think about people like people that have had encounters that said it's used mind speak or telepathy?
That's another question just came up on one of my Facebook groups. Okay. Now, I believe in telepathy. Obviously, I'm in the paranormal field. I believe human beings have precognition. Every human being that's ever born has some type of psychic ability that's got to be developed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For instance, it's gonna sound like I'm getting off the subject, but I'm not. I'm actually.
That's cool.
You know why children have a tendency to see more ghosts than adults?
Because they're more open.
Bingo. Bingo. Right on the money. Because they're not inundated with the day-to-day routine and humdrum of the world. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been on cases, like I said, I did a case where of a 10-year-old girl was possessed, and no one wanted to believe her at first, but she was possessed. We got it cleared. She got it cleared, but she saw this thing. Okay. But no one wanted to believe her. But these things happen, and they're more open to it. So what I'm getting at now, let's get back to the telepathy aspect. I think that maybe there's a possibility that they might have it. I don't know. There's not enough data for me to say one way or another, and I don't want to put myself into one position when I don't know. You know, I'm not that kind of guy. I need to have some kind of more. I need some. One thing I do get angry about. I see people go on some of these groups and they talk about Bigfoot told us all their names.
Yeah.
Really? Bigfoot's on our property. A whole family of Bigfoot comes on our property. Do you have pictures? No? Okay. I had a baby with Bigfoot.
They're the best. They are the best.
Listen, there was a magazine many years ago. You might be aware of it. It's called the Inquirer magazine.
Oh, National Enquirer. We used to get that in the UK. I don't know if you still can.
Wild.
Right. And you know the thing about this too, when I first got into it, I told you I got into this because of the UFO field. But we had people that were actually nutcases back then, and they would put these things on their heads to wear, and they would say they were taken to Venus and Uranus and all these places. Let me tell you something. My other hobby is astronomy. I built my own telescopes. Everything I see in the sky, I know what I'm looking at. Okay, I built my own telescopes, reflector telescopes, since I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's what piqued my interest in the outer space. But anyhow, if you know anything about Venus, you would think Mercury is the hottest planet, right? It is not. Venus is the hottest planet. Its atmosphere is so toxic. When Russia sent a probe up there, it didn't last but maybe 20 minutes before it got burned up. the atmospheric pressure is so bad. Okay, it's lethal. So you're not flying to Venus and meeting a bunch of women up there like you see in these old movies. Okay, that's nonsense. But the problem with this is there were a few of us back then who were genuine investigators, and we were lumped in the same category by the established scientific community. So we were labeled all as nutcases, and it made our jobs that much harder because no one, you're all nuts. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, since then, in 58 years I've been doing this, I've tried to legitimize this field as much as possible. So whenever I see these kind of posts on these groups, I get a little bit upset about it because now it's going back to entertainment and the nonsense. Then you got people coming forward with different claims saying this and that, and unsubstantiated claims, no witnesses, just anybody can get on Facebook and say anything. I can say I saw a pink elephant flying across the sky. Who's going to dispute me? Well, maybe he did. Okay. People are gullible. They'll believe anything. Okay. I know there's going to be people that's listening to your show right now. It's going to disagree with my theories and my evaluation of the things I've encountered, but that's okay because everybody's entitled to their opinion. Okay. But I'm a factual kind of guy. I need to know more than somebody's just saying this or that. I've gone to cases where people have actually tried to hoax things and I've caught them at it. You know, what are they going to say? And there's ways I can tell if somebody's lying to me, not 100% foolproof, but I know if they're making it up. Okay. I know when I see something in the woods, if it's a bear or not. Okay. I'm not going to misidentify a bear. I know bear can stand up and walk a short distance on two legs, but he's not going to run on two legs like that. But as far as the question about mind speak, I'll leave that open for now. Because I just don't have the data to say one way or another.
Yeah.
And that's what a good researcher and investigator does until I have more data.
Yeah.
So do you think it's that people are gullible, or do you think it's that people don't want to offend anyone by telling them that they're wrong?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I think what's happened too is, Nicole, is that sometimes people have had legitimate experiences. When they get on some of these groups, they get on the wrong groups. And there are some good groups and stuff that I belong to that you can actually talk and share your experiences. But some people who have actually had genuine experiences, they want to come out and they want to tell their story, but they're so afraid of ridicule. I'll give you a good example. When I went down on a case with Dan Benoit and the other investigator 2 years ago, we were down there looking for something called a pukwudgie. You know what that is?
Yes, I do. It is my favorite cryptid.
Right. Well, supposedly it's next to Mingo Park where I had the Bigfoot thing, right?
Yeah.
So we go down there, and the man that owns the property didn't want his name put out there because he didn't want to be derided by his friends and relatives and others, okay, and his work people. But he told me the story about he was down there one day with his mother. He bought 20 acres of wooded property next to 300 acres. And he saw this creature about the size of a chimpanzee grab a wild turkey and shake it so violently, the feathers were flying off of it. So he contacted Dan, and Dan contacted me, and because Dan's from Virginia, I'm from Pennsylvania. So he came up. We're good friends. And the three of us went down to do the investigation. I didn't see a Bigfoot. I did see something up in a tree at a distance I couldn't get to, but I wasn't sure what it was. And I'm not going to say what I think it was because I really don't know. Again, I found one Bigfoot track. What we did find was we were up. I split them up. I sent him and her 300 feet away with this, one of these portable CBs. It's real powerful. It goes about 10 miles. And I said, now be very quiet. Because if I can hear you in the woods, Bigfoot can hear you, right? If I can hear you, it can hear you. Yeah. So they're about 300 feet away, and I could hear every word they were saying. So I'm sitting there and stuff, and they got tired, and they said, "Where are you at?" And I told them, I said, "Just come this direction." They couldn't even see me because I was completely in camo with my back against a tree. It's midnight, and I'm sitting like this, not moving a muscle. Like I said, I could sit for hours like a statue. And they came up, and that's when we saw 2 UFOs instead. He filmed them. They were doing like a figure eight around each other. There's no airports around there, by the way. So I took this real powerful flashlight I have, which is right here, See, I told you I come loaded for bear. See, right here. I got it right here. It's pretty powerful. And I shined it at it, and Julie says, "John, it's gonna come over here." I said, "Well, isn't that the point?" Sure enough, they stopped moving. The one to the right came this way and went around this way and went to my right, and about 300 feet away, it landed. It turned red and landed, and then took back up and went back and rejoined it, and they were circling each other, and they zipped away at a high rate of speed. So, yeah, you can go on one investigation and find out something else.
Yeah.
But getting back to your question, a lot of people are afraid to come forward. I'm sure there's been more encounters, but those people don't want to come forward because they don't want to get put down and called nutcases, or they've been drinking or doing drugs or whatever. And that's the problem with these groups now. As an administrator on some groups, if I find somebody deriding a member like that comes forward, I'm going to kick them off the group. I'm going to kick them right off.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and if you're putting like derogatory comments and cursing at people, and you got to go.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I want, because here's the other thing too. In this country, I'm not sure how it is over there where you're at, but in this country, a lot of groups don't want to share information. I was in a group out west.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't want to share. And I actually suggested this one guy who ran a group in Michigan about joining forces with other groups, sharing information. Next thing I know, I get kicked out of his group. So, wow. It's your loss. Okay. But
I don't understand that.
Well, it's called jealousy, and people all want to be they want to be all know all about this. And to be honest with you, as I said, none of us are experts. I mean, people that see there, we're experiencers, we're investigators, we're explorers, but there are no experts. And there's a lot of people in this country trying to make a buck off of this, make money off of this, and they could care less about the investigative part of it. Okay, they'll sit in their houses, they'll read other people's accounts, write lots of books, sell them, make money, do whatever, go on the road, have a good time, travel to your country, travel to other countries and stuff, on somebody else's hard work. I have a problem with that. Okay, if you want to write a book, that's great, but don't take advantage of this genre and make it a laughing stock, because mainstream science doesn't want to hear that. They're going to look at us like we're all nutcases. That's the long and short of it. I will tell you something here now. I'm going to change. If you have any more questions about Bigfoot, I have a lot. I could talk for days.
I'll just have a quick look. Sorry.
Sure, that's okay. I want to get into the UFO part.
No, all right. No, so this is from Nicola, the one who arranged for you to come on. So she wants to ask about a few different things, but I want to add a couple of bits onto it. So we can do that in a while if you want, because it's more of a general chat than Bigfoot. So
okay. I'm listening. I'm all ears.
So yeah, if you want to, yeah. So I'm going to say, if you want to carry on with what you was going to say, then we can do that bit in the next hour.
Okay. Anybody? No one has anything to say? Okay. Well, let me tell you about. I saw a UFO when I was 5 years of age with my father, who was a chief of police where I live. My investigative techniques I've learned was from my father. Okay. Yeah. I used to go with my dad, and he was a constable as well, and we'd go arrest people and take them to the jails. But I learned a lot of stuff like that from my father, how to be patient, how to sit and wait, and things of this nature.
Yeah.
Anyhow, when I was 5 years of age, my dad and I were standing outside, and we lived close to the woods back then. And I saw this large object, about 100 feet in diameter, hovering over this big open area. And I said, "Look, Daddy," he says, "don't pay any attention to it. Ignore it." I thought that was kind of strange, but I listened to my dad. I was 5. Years later, I got to thinking, why would he say that? Well, let me say this. And when I was a junior in high school, let's move forward. I was standing outside on Christmas vacation at 10 o'clock at night. My dad was at work as a police officer, and my dad had bought me walkie-talkies for Christmas. So I wanted walkie-talkies. So I'm standing outside facing this hillside, which is about 800 feet tall, there's a barn on top of this hill, a huge barn. Now I tell you about this barn, and I'm going to use it because of the scale it's going to show you. The barn was probably 80 feet long by 50 feet tall, so it's a big barn.
Yeah.
But I'm standing below this hillside, and I'm talking to my friend who's miles away. And for some reason, I ducked. And when I ducked, I looked up and something came from behind me shaped like a triangle, like this. It was white. The size I estimated was 800 feet long by 500 feet wide. It was white like fluorescent lights, and there were appendages hanging down from underneath of it. It hovered over top me, and when it did, it ejected something that looked like a giant teardrop out of the back, and it swung down like a pendulum into the hillside. Then it disappeared. So I was shook up. I was a little guy back then. I was about 5'6". I grew in the summer. I grew like 8 inches in the summertime, 9 inches in the summertime. Anyhow, when I went in the house, my mom saw my face. I was white as a ghost. And she said, "You're staying up till your dad comes out." So when my dad came home, I told him, I said, "Let's go up there now." He said, "No, we're going to go up tomorrow. It's too late." So we go up the next day. He and I, my younger brother, I'm the oldest of 5. And we found where the hillside, that thing had come down into the hillside, the teardrop, which was about 150 feet long. The whole hillside was tore up. To this day, that hillside's torn up.
Wow.
Now, we're talking 1969. Now, keep that in mind. I didn't tell another living soul about this. So I go back to school. And about 2 weeks after I go back to school, now in this country, I don't know how it is in your country. In this country nowadays, you can't just walk into any school because of all the shootings we've had. They have police officer, you have to check in and all this kind of stuff. Back then, when I went to school, we didn't have that. We didn't have this kind of nonsense. Anyhow, so I'm sitting in a study hall, and my principal comes up and he says, "John," he says, "2 men are here to see you." I'm thinking they're from college recruiting because I went to college, right? I've been to 4 different colleges. And they came, so I'm thinking that. Now, keep in mind, I'm 5'6", 5'7". I weighed 112 pounds, soaking wet, maybe. So he says, "John, go up to your homeroom and wait there. That's where they're at." I said, "Okay." So I walked up, and my homeroom teacher was a big guy. He was a football coach. He was 400 pounds, 6'5". So keep that in mind. So I go in there and I take a seat in the front of the room. And I said, I'm a little guy at the time. There's 2 men there. We're all dressed in black ties, white shirts, black hats, sunglasses, black shiny shoes, black pants, right? Pale complected. So I'm thinking they're 2 college recruiters because we had college recruiters coming in all the time, And I says, "What can I do for you?" They started asking me questions about that UFO, that big one.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anybody. My dad knew, my brother knew, my mother and I knew. That's it. We didn't tell anybody else. Then he started threatening me. "We can hold you incommunicado," which I didn't know what the word meant at the time. "If you tell anybody this, we'll put you away, take all your rights away for the rest of your life. You'll be in jail. Or we can put you to death, or we can put your family to death." So around that time when he said that, I had the door to the room open. So here comes my homeroom teacher, the big guy I just told you about. And he saw my consternation. He walks and said, "What's going on, Johnny?" I said, "These guys are threatening my life." So he looked. Now he towered over both of them. But listen to this. When they talked, this one would start the sentence and this guy would finish it. It was like they were the same person, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They left their sunglasses on the whole time. There was a black fedora hats and all that.
Yeah.
So he said, "What are you threatening this boy for? What's wrong with you?" They looked at each other without a word, walked past him. They were like 5'8", 5'9". So he towered over both of them. They walked out. Pete, his name was Pete Petroff. He says, "John, get behind me." So we followed them out. And they went out to the front of the building, and they got into a Lincoln Continental, which was dark blue, with Air Force plates on the back of it.
Oh.
And they took off like their tails were on fire. So I went to the principal, and so did my teacher, and we told them what happened. They called my father. My father come up, took me home, and for weeks we tried to find out who these people were. We couldn't find out. But I never told anybody. Later that summer, I'm up on this big old field playing softball with a bunch of friends, and a UFO flew this way and made a right angle turn right in broad daylight in front of us. That was published in a newspaper. They called me, I had it published. They called me young scientist Stasko for that. We've had a rash. It seems like I've seen them 10 times in my life. That's not the best one. That's not the best one. I've had instances of missing time since I was 5. I have a, you know what a scoop mark is? You ever heard that term?
Yeah.
A scoop mark.
No.
Alien abductees end up with marks on their bodies.
Yeah.
I have one on my right ankle when I was 5 years of age. I have an identical one when I was 39 years of age on my right wrist right here.
Yeah.
Same thing. Well, let me tell you this. My friend Devin and I, we joined this group as part of MUFON. Okay. It wasn't, it was indirectly affiliated with MUFON. So we'd heard about these UFOs up on this ridge. So every weekend we go up there, and we sat one night, and I don't like mustard, just so you know at the time. Keep that in mind. So we're sitting in my Jeep by this cemetery, all places windy up here. It's cold out, and it's the only outdoor church I've ever seen. It's a church outdoors with pews on concrete pads, and an old cemetery going back to the 1700s all the way around us. We're sitting next to it because
Yeah.
it's a great vantage point. So he offers me a sandwich. I said, "What's on?" He goes, "Mustard." I said, "No, I'll eat it later on. I don't want to hurt his feelings." So I set it on my dash like this.
Yeah.
So he said, "John, look over there." So I looked to my left, and I saw these 3 orbs in a tree about 500 feet away. That's the last thing we remember.
Oh.
After that, 2 hours later, we woke up disoriented. So our director set us up with hypnoregression.
Yep.
We weren't allowed, Devin and I, that was his name, we weren't allowed to talk with each other, so we wouldn't cross-contaminate what we had to say, right?
Yeah.
So after they set that up, I went up and I did my first regression. It scared the hell out of the woman that did it. She said I scared her so bad, they videotaped and everything. I have the tapes.
Yeah.
What I said under hypnosis scared her so bad, she said, "I'll never do this again."
Wow.
There were witnesses in the room. My will is so strong, it took them over an hour to put me under. Okay. And I'm not bragging. I have a really powerful will. So I went to, after that, they wanted to set up another one. So they set up with a guy from Pittsburgh. He was a retired Pittsburgh City Police forensics expert. He used to do hypnotic regressions on victims and witnesses' memories to bring back what they saw. He put me under. Again, it took him over an hour to put me under. And what I told him, my wife was there, my sister-in-law was there. His name was William Duffy from Pittsburgh. What I told him under there scared them all really well. He reported back to my director, "I'm the real deal. I've been an abductee, and I know it's going to sound crazy, and I don't really care. At my age, I don't care who believes me or not. There's abductees all around the world. Okay.
Yeah.
Since I was 5 years of age, I've been an abductee. Under hypnosis, they told me they were grays. They told me I was one of the chosen, that I was part of the good army, whatever that is, that they saved my life by doing something to my blood. And I have Rh negative blood, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is a rare blood. 3% of the people, I think, in the world have it. Okay. But listen to this. Now, I always carry a camera with me. So one night I had this Jeep. I built this Jeep because I like going off-road too. I'm an outdoor kind of guy anyhow, and a nerd to boot. So my first wife was pregnant with our 3rd child, and my 2 younger children were in the back seat, and I had the top of the Jeep off. It was May 30th, 1990 at 9 p.m. So I get to the high point of this ridge, and I'm showing my family the constellations. There's no moon out. It's a clear night. I have on a t-shirt, jeans, and my traditional baseball cap.
Yeah.
So my wife says, "What's that behind us?" Down the hill a bit, and behind some trees, I see some really bright lights. Well, I have off-road lights on my Jeep as well. So my first thought's what? Okay, it's a bunch of kids off-roading because that's what they do. Well, here's what it did. Now, at that distance through the trees, the lights were so bright, I couldn't even look at it. Never saw lights like that bright in my whole life. And I have halogen headlights on this, by the way. Anyhow, then it starts doing this, lifting up behind the trees. My next thought's what? Now I have the wind at my back blowing in that direction. So I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a helicopter, but I couldn't figure out why would a helicopter be out here at night behind those trees? It's isolated up here. Not a sound. So I couldn't hear a rotor wash from the helicopter, even if it was because of the wind. It starts coming toward me now, very slowly. The lights are blinding me. I'm doing this. I get out of the Jeep. I got my camera with me. I get out and I start walking toward it. It's coming toward me. At this point, my wife and my children are livid with fear. I'm not afraid of anything. Nothing. Anybody that knows me will tell you. As I get closer, it gets closer. I'm doing this. It's so bright, even at that distance. finally gets so close to me, I just reached up like this. Now, at this point, I'm getting bathed in orange light.
Yeah.
Keep this in mind. I have a t-shirt on, jeans, and a baseball cap. My wife and kids are now 75 feet back up the road. It's almost directly over top me, 15 to 20 feet above me, and I'm feeling tremendous heat. I raised the camera, and when I did, I hit the flash, and when I did, the lights went off, 2 big bright lights in this hemispheric orange dish, and I have 7 pictures of this thing that I'll share with your people, okay? Unretouched, not AI generated, real, okay? 7 pictures of it.
Yeah.
Okay? This thing was right above me, and I could see landing gear retracting, not tripods, but like if you were to take a dish and you were to take your 2 sets of fingers and do this, and these were the landing gear, they were going up into the edges like this. It tilted down above me, so it was maybe 12 feet above me at this point. And there were 3 windows. In the windows were 4 little beings. 4. I got pictures. There was in the 2 smaller windows, each end was a small being about 3 to 3.5 feet tall, dark gray in color with big black eyes, bulbous heads. In the middle window, which was bigger than, they were more of a oblong, were 2 beings. One was identical to the other 2, but the other one in the middle was taller by a head and lighter in color. And it tilted down at me like I'm snapping 7 shots of this thing. What do you think I did? I did this. I waved. And what do you think they did? They did this.
Wave back.
4 long fingers. In unison. It tilted back up like this without a sound the whole time. In a blink of an eye, boom, it was 300 feet away. And it was moving in a jerky movement like this. Now, the ridge is real windy like this, but they're going in a straight line. So I ran back to my Jeep. I jumped in it, and I'm trying to keep up with it. And I'm going like this at 60 miles an hour, which is about 80 kilometers an hour, I guess, to keep up with it. Well, I went down around the turn. Now, keep in mind, I'm feeling this heat on my body because I was bathed in this orange heat. This thing was orange in color. I come down around this turn, and it disappeared over a hill. So at this point, my wife says, take us to your brother's house. So I went down to my younger brother's house, and he had remember those big camcorders they used to have? I got a little tiny one now. It's only this big, but my brother had one this big. So I told him what happened. He said, I'll grab my camcorder. I got 3 fully charged batteries. So we go back up, and we don't see one UFO. We see 3. One here, and one here, triangular formation, identical.
Yes.
Ralph my brother's name is Ralph. He starts filming it. 5 seconds of film, it dies, the battery. He puts another one in. 3 seconds of film, the battery dies. The 3rd battery goes in, it dies, the lights go off on the vehicle, and then all 3 UFOs, one goes straight up, and these 2 go right to left. At this point, my skin is peeling off. My skin is peeling off my face. My hair's falling out. My arms are burned and peeling from when I was standing under this heat. Ralph says, we got to get you to the hospital. So I said, okay, fine, because I was feeling sick and everything. So he said, what are you going to tell them at the hospital? He said, if you tell them you got burned by a UFO, they're going to think you're nuts. I said, look, I'll tell them I fell asleep under an ultraviolet lamp or something. Because I really, at that point, I was just shocked. Because my skin was literally falling off. So I go to the hospital up in Fayette County, and they asked me, I finally go to the emergency room. The doctor says, what happened? I went, I fell asleep under an ultraviolet lamp. He tilted his head, goes, you're going to stick to that story? I said, yeah. They treated me for 3rd and 2nd degree burns over any part that my body was exposed.
Jeez.
Just so you know, I developed cancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it radiation?
Right. For 10 years, I fought cancer. Almost killed me. Okay. I went up to, I don't know if you know much about Hillman Cancer Center here in the United States. It's one of the best cancer centers in the country. And it's located mostly in Pittsburgh, but we have a satellite up here in Washington, PA. Just so happens my doctor is a UFO witness himself. He's an oncologist. He said, John, you were exposed to some kind of ionizing radiation. Okay. Almost killed me. I was on chemotherapy for 6.5 years. It destroyed my hip, which I had to get replaced, I told you, and my teeth, which are false. Okay. My hair grew back and everything else. Okay. They had to get 6.5 years of chemo. And listen to this. They gave me 56 doses of high dose radiation to kill this cancer. No one's ever survived 56 doses of radiation. I was the only one. They call me Superman. Helmet cancer. They bought me a T-shirt that says he's Superman.
Wow.
Now I know this sounds crazy, but here's the thing. You remember the movie Fire in the Sky?
Yes.
Travis
Walton. Yeah.
Right. Well, Travis Walton's abductee was gone for a week. Well, Paramount Pictures contacted our group and asked us to endorse their movie, and in return, we could have an early viewing on a Thursday night in Pittsburgh, Monroeville, PA, of the movie, and we could have an exhibition in the front of the movie theater. So we agreed to do so. We endorsed the movie. I had all 7 of my pictures sitting there in the lobby. They had other people who had Bigfoot cast, and I did too as well. But I also had those 7 UFO pictures of all the aliens as well, the 4 aliens and the crab. People were offering me $5,000 a piece for my pictures, and I won't sell them.
No.
I also have the original film in a film case. Okay. I had the pictures blown up to this size. I'm not making this stuff up. You can't do that. Okay. But in my life, I've seen UFOs 10 times. But that was the one. It was on the ground. Now I got to tell you about that. The next day after that, I got a hold of my friend Devin, and we went back up with full radiation gear on, because at the time I was an environmental site supervisor. As I told you, I ran an environmental company.
Yeah.
We go up with full radiation gear and the Geiger counter. And those badges, okay, the radiation badges, we go up, and where it was on the ground, we started walking into that area with a Geiger counter, and the Geiger counter needle got buried.
Wow.
Okay, so we stepped back out of it right away. Our badges turned red instantly. High level, 1,500 times higher than radiation. It was lethal.
Jeez.
So we waited. We had the Geiger counter right there until it started dropping down where it's safe levels, and we walked in. I found plants there that were melted. Not crushed, melted. Okay, I took I actually took 3 other investigators up there to see that area later on. But anyhow, this, excuse me. Remember I told you about the soil compaction device? I can, with something, I can measure how heavy something is. I measured the depth. I measured the depth of the imprints of this thing that was on the ground. It indicated a weight of 30 tons, 60,000 pounds, and it was exactly 50 feet in diameter.
Oh,
that's really heavy.
Well, yeah, but it didn't make a sound. But whatever got me, could have killed me. But I've had multiple. The hypno-regressionist says I probably have been abducted at least 80 to 90 times in my life, maybe more. I've woken up sometimes. I'm not a sleepwalker. Okay, I'm a very light sleeper, but I'm also, just so you know, I'm not bragging. I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm a master level chess player, so I have a lot of willpower. But I remember a couple of times my wife yelled at me because we saw a blue light come through the window at night, and that's all I remember. Next thing I know, my feet are bare. I got leaves on the bottom of my feet from being outside, and I never went outside. I have no idea how that happened.
wow.
So, I mean, there's a lot to tell. Like I said, we're not going to get all this out today in this one session, but
no.
But I mean, people ask me, John, why did these things seem to happen to you? Again, it's because I put myself out there. About 3 months ago, and I'm going to switch gears again because I have a lot to tell you. I'm trying to get it all in as best I can, most of it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Well, there's a place in Fayette County, which is called Brownsville, PA. It's got a castle called Nemacolin Castle. It goes back to the 1800s, and it's haunted. So I go up, my wife wanted to go there on a tour. So we go up there. I'm the only paranormal investigator there. And I have it right on my phone. I'll send you the pictures so you see. So I'm with 20 people and the tour guide. And she's telling us a story about this little boy ghost and a little female ghost that play in the hallway behind me. Well, I'm standing with my back to that hallway. And I had this eerie feeling. And I turned around real quick, and with my phone, and I caught like a head moving out of the corner of my eye. So I snapped a picture. Then I turned this way, and I saw something down the end of the hall, and I snapped a picture. I caught a picture of a little boy about 3 feet tall with a gray head hiding in the corner. A little ghost. Okay. Then I went to another room. And took a picture of a ghost. It's taking its hands and pushing a door open. There's other people in the room watching it. I got it on film. Right there, pushing the door. You can clearly see its fingers opening doors, nothing in there. Then I got another picture of 2 eyeballs looking back at me. And the best one of all, there was a mirror between me. There was nothing between me and this mirror that was on this wall of this castle. It was a big mirror. So I'm taking a picture of myself in the mirror, I thought, until I looked at the picture. There was a woman that died in the room. She's doing this with her hands right in front of me, blocking my face. I'll send you the pictures.
Yeah, please do. But
the reason
I've got a question. Sorry, I've just got a quick question. Will I remember? So you're saying about why are you being picked to see all these different phenomena? Do you think it could be because you are part of the phenomena? You are part of the paranormal. Your energy's got a direct connection to it.
It's funny you should say that. When I was in college, okay, I was 16 years old when I started college, okay, and I took one of my electives I took was art appreciation. You remember those old college classrooms where the seats are raised up like this, like a stadium? Okay, so I'm sitting at the top, and there's fluorescent lights up the top. So the woman, I ended up dating this 35-year-old female college professor, and I'm 16, by the way. That's a whole nother story. I was a bit of
that's a different show.
A bit of a bad boy when I was young, just so you know. But I've settled down, obviously, somewhat. Yeah. Anyhow, my wife will tell you I'm settled down. But anyhow, she's the only one I'm afraid of. But anyhow, so I'm sitting at the top of the room, and unbeknownst to me, I guess one of the lights was leaking some type of gas. And because I have so much electricity in my body, it lit up, and I had a halo around my head. So she screamed, and everybody else in class looked around. I had like a green halo around my body. I guess I get a high energy charge. I got to watch what kind of watch I wear and things of this nature.
Yeah.
It's funny you should mention that about being part of the paranormal, because my good friend Ian Hawkins, who's probably watching your show right now, said that I'm part of that. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm friends with Ian, so I know exactly what you mean.
He's a great friend of mine. I hope he's watching. Hi, Ian, if you're watching, buddy. I talked to him a couple days ago. But he's a good guy, man. I'm going to take him up on his offer to come visit your country soon, I think.
Oh, you've got to. I'm not a million miles away from where Ian is either, so.
Oh, I think he's in Devon, Hallowell, Devon.
Yeah.
But he's a good guy. He really is. He's one of my best friends. Probably my best friend. But anyhow, what was I going to say? But I've also had, in 2 separate groups that I went to and did a speaking engagement, 2 psychics came to me and said, would you mind if we did a reading on you? And I says, I don't care. Sure, why not? So they did a reading on me, and they came back, separate groups, mind you. I didn't know these people, except through when I spoke at these groups. And both of them, I know it's going to sound nuts. They both came back, and I'm telling you this because, again, I don't care who believes me or not.
Yeah.
They said, their word, I quote, "You're not quite human." I said, what do you mean by that? We don't know. You're not quite human. Now, let me tell you something about my family. My dad was 5'10". All my brothers are 5'8" or under. They're all under 180 pounds. And I have a sister too. I am 6'4". I weigh 221 pounds right now. They're all blonde hair, blue eyes, and I'm dark hair. Well, I was. I'm actually like silver right now.
Yeah.
My wife don't want me to dye my hair. So, but the milkman didn't come and visit my mother. So I don't know what to make of that. But they said that. I mean, I'm just repeating what they said. But Ian said that I'm part of a different reality, and that's why these things happen. But I think the more or less, there might be some truth to that, because I do have precognition. I've had things happen, not deja vu, but actual precognition. When I knew something was going to happen, it certainly did. Like today, for instance, I knew. But as I said earlier in the show, everybody has a latent ability, but you have to develop it. I think that some of us are more in tune with our abilities than others are. You both are interested in this. I would be interested to know why you got into this. Now, let me tell you something as an investigator. Most people that are getting into the paranormal field have had some type of experience. Am I willing to guess that both of you had some type of experience?
Just a few.
You, Nicola, you look like you're sitting there not saying anything. I think you have.
I've had experiences, but I've had experiences after I've gotten into it.
Right. Well, of course. But what I'm getting at is that a lot of people don't even know they're abductees. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that they have this ability. And like in women, generally women are, you think differently than men do. We know that. I've learned that in my life. But women have an innate ability through your intuition, which is, to me, it can be more highly developed into an intuitive sense where the borders on paranormal. That's why some of your best psychics in the country and in the world are women. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of your best. Look at what's a Baba Yaga. There's a Baba Yaga in Russia that's passed away. She was a great one. Edgar Casey was a man, of course, the sleeping prophet. But there are others that have this ability that's developed, and that's why I said about children too.
Yeah.
Because their minds are more open to this kind of stuff. My mind is open.
Unconditioned.
I've never not believed that. I've never believed that we're alone in the universe ever. No. If you know anything about astronomy, and I do, it's my number one hobby. I mean, I have a lot of hobbies, but it's not my number one. If you know how immense this universe is, okay, then you have to believe we're not the only ones. You know, then you have your flat earthers who talk about the earth being flat. Come on now, seriously? Okay, it's not flat. Okay,
but is it hollow?
Huh?
But is it hollow?
Now that's another story. You want to get me on that? Sure, I do believe that.
Andy loves it.
Oh, do you know what? I was watching a podcast just before I started this, and he was talking about inner Earth and the firmament and all that, and I'm like, I can't. I've got to do this. It's just too much.
Well, I think you might have hit on something. I'll tell you what. During the Second World War, okay, the Germans went down to Antarctica and they try to make some bases down there. Okay.
Yes, they did.
As you know, Hitler was into the occult very highly, and he also wanted. They believed he was into alien technology, and that's how he developed that bell.
Yeah, I was going to say the Nazi bell.
And the wonder weapons, okay?
Yeah.
But there's supposedly entrances down there. Now, what's really strange about that, the Perry-Reese map is it was discovered, I was in the 1500s, I believe. That showed Antarctica with no ice on it.
Yeah. And it had mountain ranges and all sorts of stuff going on.
At that time, no European or any other country in the world even knew that continent existed.
Exactly.
Okay. How did he know? How do you get a map of the Perry-Reese map? Okay. Just so you know as well, I just said I'm a student of history. All the continents at one time were together and they split apart. Pangaea was a great supercontinent, okay, and split apart. You know that England and Ireland were all part of North America at one time, right? So we're kind of cousins.
Yeah.
Okay. We're cousins. But so the earth is split apart. Do I believe in a hollow earth? To an extent, yes. To an extent, yes.
Yeah.
But I'll say why to an extent. Because you have the drifting of the continental plates, which would make it impossible, okay, unless those tunnels are below that level, okay, or even that much higher than the level, okay, because of the molten core of the earth, okay. We know right now that the molten core of the earth is starting to slow down. There's a shift in our angle of our planet. The poles might flip pretty soon. We don't know. Anything's possible, but do I believe there's a possibility of a hollow earth? Yes. I don't believe Godzilla's down there though. Okay.
No.
I don't believe that. But
his friends might be, but he's not.
Yeah, his friends might
never know.
But we do know. Look, there's different races of aliens too. We haven't touched on that. You have the Nordiques, you have the reptilians, you have the tall grays, you have the short grays, you have the mantis. Okay. A good friend of mine, I wish you'd have her on your show. Her name's Linda Sigmund. She's one of the original people who saw the Mothman.
My favorite cryptid.
We love Mothman.
Yeah, she's a really wonderful person. In fact, she and I are going to be speaking at an event in Brookville on May 17th in West Virginia.
Yeah,
and she's a very good friend. I talk to her fairly regularly and stuff, but you'll love her. She's a wonderful person. She looks just like my wife.
I've just found her on Facebook, and it says Mothman Experiencer, Bigfoot hunter,
right.
psychic, empath, artist, author, nature girl, animal lover.
Right.
Mothman experiencer.
Right.
You're gonna love her. I got to tell you something though. Over 30 years ago, you've heard of the book, The Mothman Prophecies?
My favorite book. I've got it there.
Well,
I've got audio. I've got the video. Everything.
Okay. Well, I actually met John Keel at LaGuardia Airport many years ago before he died. And John Keel told me that a lot of people don't know because they rely on the Mothman itself in the movie, that there were UFOs involved.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And Linda said she saw basically a UFO and the Mothman coming out of it. Now, just so you know, I went on an investigation over 30 years ago to this area, the McClintock Preserve. I didn't see anything, but it's a weird area. I didn't see not one animal, nothing there. Then 2 years ago, my wife and I went down there in the summertime and stayed down there. And I went there 3 days in a row to this park. I went in every one of those bunkers they talk about.
Yeah, TNT area.
In 8 of the bunkers, nothing unusual happened. But I had this walkie-talkie, right? This real powerful walkie-talkie, this light. In every bunker I went, she stayed in the car because she was afraid. I'm not. I walked, so we're keeping in touch. So all the bunkers I went into, there was no problem with communicating. I went into the one bunker though, and the radio stopped working instantly, and my light went out. And then we stepped out, and it started up again. So there's something there. I didn't see it, but I'm thinking about going back down again in September for the Mothman Festival.
Yeah, but well, you'll know Steve Ward then. He works part-time at the Mothman Museum.
I've been there.
Yeah,
I have pictures of me there. Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, tell Steve I said hello.
Yeah. Who?
Steve Ward.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. I actually had, when I went there with my wife, I actually had people coming up asking for my autograph and stuff, but I went there and stuff because it's a great place to go. The people are great people. I mean, we went down there, we had a great time and stuff, but I'm going to go back down. But Steve Ward is a wonderful person and stuff, and it's a great place. It's got a great history and stuff. I'll have to send you some pictures of that too. But that statue is 12 feet tall. I got a picture of my wife and I standing in front. I got a picture of Lynn standing in front of it too. But you need to have her on your show. She's a wonderful person.
Yeah, just show you something. So inside my PC, I've got a replica of Mothman statue outside the. Do you see it?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Just
I see it. Very good. Yeah. Very good.
So
with an alien kind of beaming down Mothman, a UFO.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you about that. You know, we got a lot of so-called cryptids on this planet, supposedly. We have Chupacabra, we have Mothman, we have the Jersey Devil, we have the Thunderbird, we have all this kind of, as you said, I know about this stuff. But here's the thing. Here's what I believe. Now, this is just, take it for what it's worth. Okay, Mothman. Now, you know birds' bones are hollow, right? That's why they're able to fly, correct?
So they can fly, yeah.
Now, this creature supposedly kept up with the car that Linda was in with only wings maybe 10 feet across. For something that big, that's 8 to 10 feet tall, it would have to have enormous wings over 40 feet long.
Yeah.
But this thing came up, it flew wrong side the car. So what that tells me is one of two things. It's either got an anti-gravity belt on and uses the wings for propulsion, but the anti-gravity keeps it in the air. Okay.
Yeah.
Which also would imply that it's not terrestrial in nature.
Yeah.
Extraterrestrial in nature. I think that some cryptids were brought here and dumped off here. Maybe it's like a zoo. You know, there's even theories to the fact that the Earth is a zoo. Okay.
Yeah.
We're creatures because actually, okay, let me explain something. You know, the best temperature for human beings is 67 degrees. Okay. The best sunlight for human beings is the sunlight that's on Mars. Guess what the normal temperature on Mars is?
67 degrees.
That's right. There are theories that Mars was the human beings' original home world.
Yes.
Okay, that we were brought here. Everything on this planet is pretty much toxic to us. Think about it for a second.
Didn't we just have this conversation with someone? Who did we just have this conversation with, Andy?
It's probably Brandon. Probably.
Like this exact same conversation.
Brandon Thomas.
Well, there you go. Great minds think alike, right?
Yeah.
But But
Yep.
so here's the thing: the gravity up there is less than Earth, so it's better. So we'd be taller and thinner on that planet. Okay,
Oh,
because of
what?
gravity.
When do I get me ticket?
Listen, if I could go right now, my wife says to me, if an alien craft would come and want to take you, would you go? I said, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something else. Remember that regression I told you? Those 2 regressions I was under. I was
Yeah.
offered the first time they took when they took me to go with them. They said that I couldn't come back, and I turned it down because my wife was pregnant with our first child.
Got you.
I wanted to be there. They said the next time we come for you, you will have no choice.
Oh.
You understand?
Yeah.
I got to tell you more. There's more to tell you about this. I went on an investigation with Devin on a woman that was claimed to be an abductee. I'd never met her before in my life. And we drove down in the summertime to her house, and it was about 6 miles from that ridge again.
Yeah.
Never met this woman. Devin got out, and his size, he's bigger than I am, and 3 times my weight almost. And he got out and he started talking to her, and everything was fine. She was talking to him. Then I stepped out of my Jeep. She saw me and her face turned white. She didn't want to talk. Finally, he talked to her and is talking to me, and she says, I know who you are. I went, what are you talking about? She says, you were with them. I said, what are you talking about? She said, you were with them and helping them when they took me. I went, what? I never met this woman in my life. She lived in a place called Low Hill. So she's saying I was there to calm her. So I was working in conjunction with these creatures. The other thing I remember when we were taken, I remember walking up the ramp to this ship. The ship was behind us when they took us. It was parked in a field behind us, some trees.
Yeah.
They marched us out of the car. There were five of them, I think. 5 of them total. 3 walked with Devin and 2 walked with me. They took Devin in. When you walk inside the craft, you saw like a wall. It was curved, and you had to make a right and go up these narrow steps into the top of the craft. I walked up, and when I walked on the ramp, it sounded like I was walking on wood, but it wasn't wood. It was the ramp. And I put my hand on the outside of the craft, which felt warm, and I looked, and it looked laminated, like there was layers there, maybe 4 inches thick. And I went to the right, and I went up inside, and they made Devin sit into a bench. It was built into the wall, like it was like organic, and they made him sit there, and he was like in a trance. They had me get on a low table, and they sat me on a table, took my clothes off, and they were conducting something on me with my blood again. And as I looked up, I saw this big round black circle, and I could actually see the ground below me receding as I looked up. Okay. And then I remember seeing in the craft, there were 2 small seats in the front and something in the middle. It looked like a teapot almost, I guess. I don't know. I guess it's the only thing you could describe it as. And the only controls I saw looked like joysticks on these seats on the right-hand side. They were too small for an adult human my size, but maybe for a child, maybe 7 to 8 years old.
Yeah.
There was no screen in the front, but there was a window there. But I remember that ground receding below me, above the trees. That's all I remember from that. They told me also that their civilization, because I asked, I said, and they told me their civilization was 5 million years older than ours. Okay. They were from what we call Zeta Reticuli. Okay. Not Arcturus, not anywhere else, but Zeta Reticuli. But there were other races there they were in contention with for something to do with Earth. They were modifying our DNA. They're not here for good. Now, Whitley Strieber, you know who that is.
Yeah.
He claims they're here for our spiritual advancement. They are not here. They lie. They lie. They're here for their own agenda. They look at us like we were to look at ants. Do we care what happens to ants unless they get in our way? If they get in our way, what do we do to them? We eliminate.
Get rid of them. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know this all sounds far-fetched, but they're probably, I don't know how big your audience is, but I'm guessing it's fairly extensive throughout Britain, and elsewhere. You have people who are listening right now that are abductees and can relate to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you're taken against your will and you're subjected to medical procedures, any kind of invasive procedures against your will, it's tantamount to rape.
Yep.
Okay. You're not in control. As strong as I am, I was not in control. They told me that the one told me its name. It's been with me since I was a child. And its name, the taller, light-skinned gray one, was about 5 feet tall, taller than the other ones that are in the craft. Its name was Yed Ya, Yedya. That's all I remember. Yed Ya. I know that sounds crazy too, but they've been with me for a while, and they follow families generationally. Every night, at least 600. Right. Every night, at least 600 people are taken worldwide, at least. And how many more go unreported? They don't even know they're taken. Women have had their children, unborn children. They were implanted.
Yeah.
And then those hybrid children
more than what he's
right. We know about USOs.
Yeah.
Okay. Out the Catalina coast. There's supposedly a base there. I believe there's bases all around the world. Like I said, I could talk to you for days about this stuff, but I'd be dead before I could get done telling you everything. But this is probably the most serious matter since Jesus Christ came to earth. Okay. There's nothing more earth-shaking than, we're not the dominant species as we think we are. Human beings, and I hate to sound like, look, I don't mean to sound crude or crass or any way, but human beings are like a virus. We move into an area, and what do? We deforest it. We destroy it. Yep. That's what cancer does. Right now, human beings, the way they're doing on Earth, they're destroying the environment. They're destroying this beautiful planet we have. Okay. Instead of doing things the right way, living in harmony with nature, we're not. And I'm not saying me in particular, because I try to live in harmony with everything. But, if you look around the world right now, the pollution, the anger, the hatred that's going on, we're never going to achieve star flight until we start learning to live together as human beings. That doesn't matter what color, race, or religion we believe in.
No.
Okay? Until we start acting in harmony with one another, we're not going to achieve anything except our own self-destruction. And I hate to put it that way, but encountering aliens as I have, it's given me a whole new worldview, or actually a whole new universe view of things. Okay. And that's just the way it is. I don't mean to sound so somber, but I mean, we've been making light of some of this stuff and we've been joking a little bit, but to me, this is the most serious matter I could ever do. If I can come up with some answers between now and the time I die, great. Now, just so you know, I'm a member of also Bob Lazar and Beyond. You know who Bob Lazar is, right?
Definitely.
Okay, it's a group based in Canada run by John Lanigan, and I'm his administrator and group expert. I believe Bob Lazar was the real deal. He worked at Area 51, S1. And so, yeah, I believe that. But these creatures have been here for millennia. They just didn't get here. I know Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astrophysicist, says the distances are so vast they couldn't get here. They've already made the trip.
Yeah.
They've already made the trip. And they probably used wormholes to do so. I know about quantum mechanics too. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, black holes, they can they have technology. What they told me is true, there are 5 million years of advance of ours. Just imagine the strides we've made in the last 100 years. Imagine 5 million years where we can be.
I know.
Do you both think our races are going to survive at the rate we're going?
Not really, no. I'm surprised it's lasted as long as it has.
We have weapons of mass destruction. We're going to take ourselves out. Nuclear weapon. There's no winner. Mutually assured destruction. Russia, United States, other countries possess nuclear weapons, including UK. Okay. Once somebody launches one, it's a wrap. That's done.
Yeah.
Our survivor, the only thing that's going to live on this planet will probably be the cockroach.
Yeah.
It's a sad state of affair to say this, but as I said, that the alien enigma, the Bigfoot enigma, I think they're related in some way. Don't know why, how yet. I still look, but I mean, I said I could talk to you for days and stuff. I mean, I want to save some for part 2, but you might end up having more than 2 parts.
That's fine. We can do 10 parts if it's required. I love all this stuff. Absolutely, just I don't think you can go deep enough into this. I think the deeper you go, the better it gets.
We'll
Well,
have
it's like
to do
going
part
down.
2, just the questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
we didn't get to
Yeah.
any of those yet.
Well, here's the thing. It's like in the paranormal field, when you go down one rabbit hole, you find yourself going down another one, like Alice in Wonderland. Okay. The more when I think I find an answer on one thing, I got 10 more questions. Okay. And that's just the way it is. And you know, I gotta say this too. You know, I do my best to try to apply the scientific method to my investigations, but here's the thing: when you're dealing with the paranormal, you have to be able to think outside the box too.
100%.
I can't make a UFO appear. I can't make a Bigfoot just jump out and say, "Here I am. Look, we can go on TV. And I'll show you I'm real." I can't do that. And in the scientific principles require you to be able to do something repeatable. I can't repeat this. It is what it is. My Bigfoot cases that I've been on, are, other than one, 3 of them been by accident. One was I was on an investigation for a year, literally a year, before I got any results. But the other 3 were simply by accident. I got called up, and here I am. There I was. The UFOs, I felt I was drawn to go to this area all the time. Every night I'd try by myself at times. I'd be up here foggy. I'd go up on this ridge by myself at 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning by myself, because I felt drawn to be there for some reason.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't know why. And here I am sitting out here in the cold with snowing now, looking for Bigfoot or anything else for that matter, you know. But that's what I do, and that's what investigators do. It's a thankless job. You can spend the rest of your life and maybe never see anything, but if you don't get out there and look, you never will.
Exactly. Totally agree with that. Yeah.
You know, if I ever do make it to England, I'll look you both up. I promise.
Oh yeah.
The
I'm
thing
in New
is,
York, so you don't have to go.
You're not a
I
million
had
miles away.
relatives in New York. I had relatives. I drove up there one time. That was enough. So, you're not a typical New Yorker, are you? If I ask you for directions,
if you ask me for directions, I'm going to tell you to put it in your GPS, because I will get you lost.
well, the last time I was in New York and I asked for directions, I got told something. It wasn't GPS. It was GTH. Go to hell.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know how. Yeah, I've been to New York. I had relatives that lived up there years ago. They're both dead though, my uncles. But like I said, I was up there. But yeah, I'll have to look you both up and stuff. But you know what? It'd be great if you could come down to watch us speak down there in Virginia in June. That'd be wonderful down there to see us. But I would suggest though, you also, I'm going to talk to Linda if you're interested in having her on your show. I'm sure she'll do it.
100%. Get you both on if you want. You can come on together.
So actually, Linda and I were on a few weeks ago on Dan's show together. We did a podcast together with Dan on his podcast.
Yeah.
So, and it's really interesting. She's a great friend and wonderful woman. You know, you'll love her. I mean, she really is. She's smart, you know, and she's very insightful and stuff, you know. I wanted to mention too, I have one of the members of the group I'm in, Bob Lazar and Beyond, is Polly Roderman. She's in Israel. She's a journalist. I made her an administrator in the group. She's a really wonderful person too. You could get her on there too. She's had UFO experiences as well. So, because they're having a lot of UFO experiences around the world now. And these so-called drones, I believe, are nothing more than UFOs. Most of them are, I think. Mexico, you have people. I talk to people in Mexico all the time, you know, and they have a lot of UFO sightings down there as well. But I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move this vehicle.
Yeah, that's cool. But I was just gonna say, I'm actually coming over to the States in July. We're going to Gettysburg in Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's great. I've been there.
So if you are about, then it'd be great to meet up.
Well, I got to tell, that'd be great too. But I want to tell you about that. I have a friend named Jeremiah Horstman. He lives in Sedona, Arizona, and he was. Remember I told you about the case in Canonsburg where I had the 2 juvenile Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Well, his family were the ones that called me, and I trained him. He was a juvenile then himself. I trained him to be an investigator. Now he's doing it out west. He's going out to Area 51. Him and his girlfriend Alexandra. So you might want to. I actually asked him if he's interested in getting on your podcast. He's a really good guy. He's taking pictures of UFOs as well. A lot of activity.
Is he from Arizona?
now he is. Yes, he lives in Sedona, Arizona. Jeremiah Horton.
Yeah, just found him.
Yep,
Lots of
he's a great
mutual
guy.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Alexander's his girlfriend. What's
quite
that?
a few people. We're meeting up with quite a few people when Andy comes to Gettysburg. There is what, about 50 now?
50,000-ish, maybe
Right.
more. Don't know.
Well,
But
that'd
I've
be
something
great.
to
Like
tell
I
you
said,
after the show about this, Nicole. So,
well, here's the thing. Like I says, what I want to do is I'll do as many podcasts you want, and I can put together a format if you wish we can follow. So I had to jump around a lot of different subjects.
No,
But
do you
I mean,
know what? Tangents are amazing, but I also love going down one rabbit hole that leads out into God knows how many more. So we're happy with both.
The best ones are when we have like organic conversations, and it just goes where it goes.
It goes where, exactly.
Well, you know, my friend Bill Rigby has a group called Agents of the Unexplained. He lives in Butler, PA, and he's a good friend of mine. I've done some speaking engagements with him as well, and he'll tell you when I've done speaking engagements for him to bring duct tape because I talk a lot. I could talk. I went up to last year or a year before? I went up to Lindora, PA, which is up near Butler, and I spoke to Dan Hageman's group up there, and I talked for so long. I think I think I had them all tired, but yeah, it's snowing up here pretty good right now.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
Nicole says.
Here's the thing.
I didn't say it's a bad thing. I just said there's a reason our 24-hour podcast, was a thing.
Yeah.
And now it's 48 hours.
Well, something just knocked this fence down up here. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
I'm just looking right now. I don't know if you can see or not. Right there.
Oh yeah.
It knocked the fence right down. Okay, pulled down. Looks like
a car ran into it or anything.
If a car would have ran into it, would have been pushed the other direction. This is pushed.
Well, I didn't know it was on the other side.
Yeah, you can see how. I'll show you. I'll turn this around so you can see how thick the brush is up here. Hold on.
Yeah,
this
that
is
goes
where
back quite a bit.
Yeah, it's really thick, and it's perfect. There's berry bushes and everything else up here, deer. So yeah, I also believe that Bigfoot has a tendency to go into cemeteries at night because no one can go in a cemetery after it goes to nighttime. So they can hang out there, and there's plenty of wild animals up in there, deer, and there's geese up in there we have around here. But you can see it's really thick. I've traversed these woods quite a bit, and other woods as well, even thicker than this. But it's getting nasty. I don't know if you can see it snowing, but
yeah, I can see the snow. Yeah,
it's coming down. We've had one good day of 51-degree weather, and then we dropped down to 22. So Jesus,
it's like that. Yeah, but it's been nice here for the last week. Actually, it's been 18, 19 Celsius. So
which is about what, 35 degrees? Is that what it is?
No, so you double it and then add 30, so 36, 86.
Okay, well, that's pretty close. Not too bad.
Yeah,
I
shorts and t-shirt weather.
Sure, yeah, not here. Actually, you know what the Salvation Army is?
Yes.
I actually volunteered because I have a 9-year-old great-granddaughter who's got brain cancer. It's incurable. Yep. She's one of 3. Hold on for a second. I got to put my seatbelt on, or you'll keep hearing this ding. She's got something called astroblastoma, and she's 9 years old. And she's been going for radiation and stuff. We've been helping take care of her, and so I went up here and volunteered. My way of giving back to the Salvation Army for a whole month. I was out in the snow, freezing my rear end off, ringing the bell. But I didn't mind. It's for a good cause.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a good cause, isn't it?
Yeah, well, my wife and I lost a daughter who was 15 and a half to brain cancer, and she'd have been 45 this year. I'm actually driving through the park right now here, but I'll stick around for a while and stuff. But like I said, if you want to finish this up, because it's now 5:20, we can do this again as soon as possible if you wish.
Well,
yeah, definitely.
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday is fine with me. I have no other plans.
Nicole?
The only thing I got to do next week is I got to drive to Pittsburgh. That's it.
Yeah. Stephanie's can't make it, can she? Is it Stephanie?
Yeah,
Do you-
no, she has to get her daughter from the bus. So we'll have
Yeah,
to
we
do a
yeah,
special.
we've got an empty slot next Wednesday, same time.
Sure, that's great. 3:30 is
Sorry,
great for
Simon,
me.
you took the boot.
What's that?
But you just booted
Hello?
Simon.
No, I'm going to sort Simon out to come on. I want to do a special with Simon.
Okay.
So that'll probably be Saturday or something, or a Monday afternoon one, like what we did with Tommy. So yeah, I've been writing a lot of stuff down this afternoon, so it's all planned.
Cool.
Yeah, because
Well, do you have any? Does any of your viewers have any questions or anything?
there was
We don't have any at the moment. Well, I think we'll have to save it for next time.
Nickname Nicola, she put one up asking you to talk about John Keel, Mothman, UFOs, which you've done. You've done all that anyway, so
right.
But no, I want to show you some images and footage. But I'm going back to Put Wadje, the Slater Mill Troll bench guy. Can we do it more of a chat rather than us interviewing you, where we all just discuss
anything you want to do? I'm game for. It's not a problem. I have no problem talking.
I want to show them images. Yeah, excellent. Because I wanted to show the images that me and Simon, Darren, and to investigate Scotland was down by the river. I just want to run a few things by you and get your take on it all, as well as you talking about your encounters and your experiences. So
if John sends you his pictures to show for next time.
Yeah,
I want to show you. I definitely want to show you pictures. By the way, one of my Facebook friends is John Sigabeer from over there. He's a ghost hunter.
John Sigabeer.
Segeber, I believe. He's one of my Facebook friends as well. I mean, I have people all over the world I talk to. I talk to people in Ukraine and Russia, believe it or not, and Australia. I'm a member of a group in Australia, so
yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm in one from Oz. Can't remember the name of it. It's quite a long name. But I have sent you a friend request on Facebook.
What's that?
Said I'm in a group of people from Mars.
Yeah. John, I've sent you a friend request on Facebook.
Okay, so no problem.
I did try searching you, but I only had JJ Stasko. I didn't know what your first name was, so but
when you look on there, you'll see a picture of me standing in front of an 8-foot tall statue of Bigfoot.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I was also well, like I said, I'm a retired paralegal. So but I still do legal work on the side for people if I like them. But if not, I don't help them. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. But I do for nothing and stuff. Like I said, like I said, there's nobody in this park right now except of some birds. That's about it. I don't see anything. So I think I'm going to call it a day for here. But but I don't see. Here's the other thing too. If you see deer, generally Bigfoot's not around.
Yeah.
If you don't see any deer and there's supposed to be deer, then he's around.
There's something knocking about.
Nice. All right. Well, listen, I'll let you go for now then, if it's okay.
Yeah.
And you friend me, and I'll get back with you as soon as you want. That's all. No problem.
Yeah, I'll send more details out. But sorry, go on.
Go ahead. It's hard for me to encapsulate 58 years of experience in an hour or two. It really is. I try, but I jump from subject to subject over and over. I mean, you see what I do. I mean, it's everything from paleoanthropology. There's a deer right there, so there's no Bigfoot. Okay, there's two. Here, I'll show you. There we go. Standing right there. Okay. Walking right there.
Can't see him.
They're right there. You can't see that one?
No.
Here, we're still.
I think you need to flip the camera.
Wait, maybe I do it this way. How about that?
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
You've even
just looking at
it. We've got.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them here.
They're so cute.
By the way, this is the home of the International Pony League right here. I'll show you. This is the field. See where it says here? Home of Pony League?
Yeah.
That's where everybody comes from different countries to play.
Wow.
For the World Championship. So, yeah, it's a pretty well-known place. But it's hard to believe. Like I said, this is a pretty large park. It's not as big as the other ones I've been in, but it's pretty good size. But like I said, I
Yeah.
came up here because of the Bigfoot or whatever it was standing up there. Like I said, it was, I'd say 7.5 to 8 feet tall. But
Wow.
I'm heading back to the house right now, I guess, to eat dinner or my wife will kill me. So
Yeah. Well, I have
she's on.
just before you go,
Yeah.
on Monday, Tuesday this week, I had 2 UFO encounters that I caught on
Okay.
camera, like mini films.
Okay.
You do when you do the live photo. So I wanted to. I'll send you that between now and then. I'll do it over this weekend. Let you have a look at
Okay.
it, and I'll send you the slow down version of it as well.
Okay.
And then
And
go
I'll
from
send you,
there.
I'm gonna send you pictures of the UFOs, and I'm gonna send you pictures of the ghost and
Yeah.
some other photos I've taken where I was on investigations and stuff, and especially by the one Mingo Park where the Pukwudgie was supposedly.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is I really enjoyed talking with you both today. I mean, I know I did a lot of talking myself, but that's the whole point.
Honestly. Yeah.
You know, I enjoy it. Like I said, and I don't just get on any podcast anymore because there's so many nonsense podcasts out there now. All they care about is ratings, and they care about making a name for themselves or saying they're number one or whatever. And I got news for you. Like I said, nobody knows everything. I certainly don't, and I've been doing this longer than anybody that I know. I don't think there's. I'm not bragging, but I don't think there's anybody else in the world's been doing this longer than me right now. So, but you know, I don't know how many more years I have left. Like I said, I'll be 73 in August. You know, and people say, John, you only look 50, but well, I feel every bit of it. Every bit of it.
Yeah. No, well, it's been a massive pleasure having you on.
Same here.
Been great listening to you.
I didn't talk yours off.
No, not at all. It's so interesting, everything you're talking about. And it's everything that it's all the different rabbit holes that we go down. So it's been awesome. It really has. So what I'll do, I'll get all that. One.
I'm going to get a hold of Linda Sigmund for you too. And I'm going to ask her to talk with you. And I says, I think you'll find what she has to say very interesting, Wells, because she's actually seen the Mothman, you know, and it chased her. And she was a young girl at the time. So, and she's 70, I believe she's 75 right now. But she's a nice person. Like I said, I love her. Like I said, she looks just like my wife would look in 10 years.
Yeah.
But they could be twins. Here I go. I'm in traffic. But
right.
Yeah, okay. I will talk. You send me that information. I'll send you some pictures. All right. Nice talking with both of
you. You too, John. Great to meet you. Take care.
Great to meet
Safe
you.
travels.
Be safe over there. And please tell your viewers that not all Americans are like Trump. Okay. Please tell them that. We believe in the UK. We believe in NATO. We believe in supporting Ukraine. We believe in supporting our allies. We can't help it. We got an idiot for a president. Seriously. What can I say? I wish I could run for president. I would. Well, I'd be doing a better job in it. All right, dude. Have a nice evening.
Right, John. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Take care, mate.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Drive safe.
Nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we go. Wow. So just to let you know, Simon, I wasn't bidding you off. I've actually got some plans because I know Simon wants to try and get on with Bridget. I do want to get them on together, so I do need to create it so it's more that than this. But with us having the Mondays, like the Monday afternoon, unsubscribing as you speak, what you say. I know where you live. No, I want to do it a little bit different. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to do a special for Simon and a special for Stephanie.
Yes. So, I know you can't talk about it yet still, but use that on an investigation the other night. When is that being aired and what channel is it on?
It's on YouTube channel. I can't say whose channel yet, but I can say that Full Moon was contacted by someone who is a fairly big name YouTuber to come out and help investigate. He was going to be in the area investigating. And that is the video should drop a week from tomorrow. And then I'll be able to talk about it more. But we went out and we were there all night investigating. That's why I was dead tired on Wednesday, because we were out all night on Tuesday. We got home at like 4:30. It was a really cool experience. But yes, we're gonna have Stephanie on. She's a member of Full Moon, and we're gonna talk about it once the video drops and everybody can watch it.
And can you talk about Stephanie's partner? What they do? Is it partner?
Stephanie is part of Full Moon. And she also works at the Shanley Hotel, and she works at the Pine Bush UFO Museum. Yes,
that was it. Sorry, I thought you said it was a partner, but it's the bloke that runs. Is it the bloke that runs it, or one of the blokes that's there?
Lance runs it. She sent your video to him.
Yeah. Did he come back with anything on that?
I don't know.
Useless.
I didn't hear anything after.
No, I'm only messing.
But yeah, so
about.
It'll be interesting. She's cool.
Excellent. It's not this Wednesday coming, it's a Wednesday after, it's the 19th, so you've got 2 weeks, right? Because we have Gwendolyn Purcell coming on next Wednesday, and next Friday we have Bob Brown. So Gwendolyn is ESC and Bob is up north in Yorkshire. So they're going to be coming on. And then on the 15th, Saturday the 15th at 6 p.m. UK time, I'm doing a collaboration with Coley Webber and Dana Louise, and it's going to be going out onto all 3 channels at the same time. No idea what we're going to be talking about. I'm probably not even going to get a word in, to be honest with you. But it's going to be good. So, yeah.
And reminder, daylight savings time in the US tomorrow.
Yes, that was next. So, just quickly, Coley's setting up the whole thing. So once she's got it set up, she's going to send it out, and then I'm going to share it with everyone. I'm going to put it on here at one point next week to do it. So clocks go forward in the UK. clocks go forward not in the UK. Simon, shut up. Clocks go forward in the US at 2 o'clock Sunday morning. The clocks don't go forward for another 3 weeks in the UK. So any of our US viewers or guests, you'll be watching this an hour later. Show
up an hour later.
So it's going to be 4:30 p.m. EST. Is it 5:30 Texas time Central?
No, 3:30.
No, it's an hour later.
No, they're an hour.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. So
you're confusing me.
No. Central, it'll be 3:30. Mountain time, it'll be 2:30, and PST will be 1:30. Don't know the others. I've not got the thing that Gerald sent me, so it's going to be an hour later anyway for the next 2. Up until the beginning of April. So that's it.
And you know how you can figure that out? You can subscribe, and then you'll just get the notification
that will tell you the time.
Exactly.
Yes. So we've got Gwendolyn, then Bob, then we've got John coming back on, then we've got Brandon and Dawn on the 21st. Need to let Brandon know. Yes. Mark Ollie is coming back on the 26th. So as I said before, he's given a list of all different topics that he's offered to talk about. If you can pick 2 of those topics, the 2 with the highest vote, I'll send them to him and let him know. He'll get all the necessary
research done.
Yeah, that's it. Research. Yeah, he'll get all the research that he needs for them, and he'll talk about them too. So that is up on the post page, which is what used to be the community page on the YouTube channel. So you click on that. There's a big list. You just put in the comments what 2 you'd like him to talk about. But Mark has also agreed to make it a regular thing. It's just that it's been a bit difficult with everything going on at the minute and changing the way the show is done and dropping Fridays. So yeah, we'll get there.
We're dropping Fridays, adding Mondays, adding Saturdays.
So our last Friday show is with Heidi Pop on the 18th of April. excuse me, which will be Good Friday or Bad Friday, depends how you want to look at it. But it gives us time to go out and add more content to the channel. So that's it. Also, merchandise. The prices are going to be going up in a couple of months. Not a lot I can do about. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. So if you want anything, you need to get it now. So I'm going to be getting a few bits before they go up. Because I don't even get discount.
Well, you can't order samples. They don't have samples on those websites.
Nope.
Lame.
No, if I put a new design up, you get 2 days at, I think, 20% discounted price. You see 2-3 days or something, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, if you go on TeePublic or Dasher and just type in Alienate UK or Andy Decodes, and you'll find it. But all the links are in the Facebook. I shall pop it up on the screen now, just so you can have a look. And also, I do have stickers, key rings, bottle openers, holographic stickers, all different bits and pieces. So you get one key ring, one bottle opener, and two and or 4 of each sticker, depending on what sticker it is, for £12, including postage. But it'll be £12 plus postage if you are outside the UK, because it is very expensive, as I found out the other day. So yeah, not making anything from it. And what I do make goes straight back to the YouTube channel. So just give you better content and better locations when we go out. So that's it. Anything you would like to add before we finish?
Nope. We will be at the Borland house tomorrow investigating. So I'll have to send over some pictures and videos of that too. I have to upload some pictures and videos from the last place I was at because I suck and didn't do that yet.
Oh, just quickly. So I'll put the pictures of Bruno up on Facebook, on my Facebook thing. Steph, one of the members, she said about doing a Alienate, like I did with the one where people sent them and put them on air, and put them on the Alienate Facebook group. So I'm going to call it Alienate UK9.
Aww.
How cool is that? So I'm going to get that started this weekend, and then I'll post will go up on Facebook and on here. So just something different, bit of fun. So get photos of you and your dog, or dogs, as the case may be. That's it. So thank you, everyone. You can listen to this back on Audible, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. Yes, Simon did help me come up with that name. But I wasn't going to say it because he's been slagging me off for the last 5 minutes. Yeah, so you can listen back on all different devices, and you can watch back on YouTube, of course. You can join the paid membership. You can do it through Patreon, PayPal, whatever, just to help support the channel. We are going to be doing the 2-day conference, which will be for members only, and it's going to be certain tiers of the membership. But with that, you will get free merchandise as well.
We need to plan that.
Yes. So we're getting there.
Yeah.
And that's it. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you on Wednesday at 8:30 UK time, 4:30.
Oh, we're gonna go through again.
No, 4:30 EST. So I'm not doing all that again. So it's done. If you don't listen, then tough. Right, I'm going. Right,
Okay.
Have fun. I'll see you all soon. See you later. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.